Welcome from the Music City Center, Nashville, Tennessee. We're here at the EMS World Expo, the largest EMS dedicated event in the world. This is EMS World Presents Stories from Expo. Your story continues here.
I'm Aaron Gutzman here with EMS World, EMS World Podcast and EMS Garage Podcast, doing a little mashup, coming together. We're in Nashville, Tennessee, and with me is
Brian Nix.
Brian Nix.
Yeah.
You are giving a speech, or you have a poster?
We're giving a poster.
Okay.
Yes.
What is it?
It's I started off initially about 4 years ago with the state of EMS and compliance. Now I'm training and certification manager, and one of the first things that came across was a hybrid course, which is more of a didactic portion, being online, video-based, that they can go and watch it. Some do asynchronous and some do the synchronous, or some there's a set time they have to be on there. Mm-hmm. Others can do it as long as it's before the next class. Mm-hmm. And we were kind of wondering, with it being so new for South Carolina, how did it compare to our traditional classroom? You're there all the hours, your didactics in the class, the skills, everything is in the class or in class, where the hybrid, the skills are the only time you come to class or if you're taking an exam. And we wanted to make sure that we were not offering a product basically that would not be giving our students the best opportunity to pass. So we had 1 year of good data. As I said, it was kind of a rather of a new topic for us. And with that, the success rate was higher than I actually thought. I figured that the hybrid being newer, as well as people kind of doing the old skip through the video, wouldn't actually sit down and do it. The first time pass rates on the National Registry were actually roughly a percentage point higher. So statistically they were insignificant, which for the first year that we were able to compare them, we thought was very good, and then hoping to follow it up down the road to make sure that we're offering something that, again, it's got to, the results have got to meet the need for it. Mm-hmm. One thing when I was doing the research that really blew me away was I figured it'd be the young up and coming, the millennials or the post-millennials that would be more interested in the hybrid portion, and found out that there's more of the second career or the per se older people like myself getting in, who's trying to go up another notch because they have so much on their plate, they're doing so much. Mm-hmm. They actually did the hybrid portion more than the students fresh out of high school or fresh out of college and getting in there. So it's kind of completely opposite of what I thought that it would be.
Okay, yeah, I mean, that makes sense. A lot easier to juggle classroom time when your classroom can be when you make it.
And being a young student, you're coming out, all you know is sitting in a classroom being lectured, and they go with what they know. And the conclusion of our research when we finally did it was there are many different styles of learning, just as there's many different styles of teaching, and that the student needs to pick a program that best suits their needs, or it's going to give them the best way for them to learn in order for them to take care of the classroom and to make them successful when they take the National Registry. We're a nationally registered state, so in order to get South Carolina certified, mm-hmm. you have to get your National Registry. So that was why doing the first time rates was really important for us, along with the shortage of EMTs that are out there.
Oh, yeah.
We're trying to give as much as we can to try to generate more people to get into it. Another issue that we're looking into, and hopefully down the road be able to do it, is offering the high school students an EMS, so when they turn 18 they can take their test and then go forward with it.
Oh, cool.
And trying to get them earlier on, because
yeah.
That's where we're losing it. EMS it does have its lights and sirens and everybody loves it. They see it on TV, and then the first month or so they realize that doesn't happen on every call like it does on TV.
Yeah.
They're not used to taking somebody to the hospital just because they need their prescription refilled and they don't want to go to a doctor.
Oh yeah.
And they get out of it. So we're trying to find the best way we can to keep people in the position. We did a study on some numbers and found that we actually graduate enough paramedics in South Carolina to fill all of our openings, but we continue not to have openings because they're not going into EMS and they're going to other things. So there's a lot of retention things that we're looking at to try to make it better for us.
So is this, I wondered too, is this teaching style, is it easier on colleges or universities? Like, is it less staff, more staff? I mean, are you going to be able to teach more people with less? I mean, if you're looking at it from both angles, because obviously if it's good for the student, it's something you want to do. But if it's impossible to implement, then it's. But yeah, what have you been finding there?
And I mean, so far we've had a lot of good results. People coming out saying that they really enjoyed that portion of it. Still, like I said, 2016 to 2017 was the first full year of data that we could get, and that's kind of set the bar, kind of our benchmark where we want to go, and go from there. So hopefully, in the next year or the next couple of years, we can look at breaking the hybrids apart to the ones, like I said, that you can view at any time as long as you do it before the class, or the ones that you still have to go online and meet with an instructor online to see if there's a difference there. We want to study the attrition rates, see how many people are dropping out of the hybrid versus who drop out or fell out of the traditional. And the big thing is some instructors can be great classroom teachers, but they may or may not be able to do it on a hybrid level. So we got to also take into consideration the capacity of the instructor to teach in that format. So there's a lot more questions for us, but we're hopefully, now that we've kind of got our base and got our foundation, we can go from there. And again, the ultimate goal is to provide the best EMTs and paramedics that we can to the citizens of South Carolina and nationwide. I'm sure I've already had one gentleman from Tennessee came up to me at my poster and asked, "Hey, we don't do a hybrid. Can you tell me a little bit about it?" So hopefully, it'll get kind of going and spread throughout the nation, and people will see it. We need to do something to save our culture and the profession. It just seems like once people get into it, they realize it's not all the glitz and glamour that Hollywood puts on. But it is something. I mean, I've been in EMS one way or another for 24 years, so we need to get that back in there.
Absolutely. And if somebody had a question they wanted to email you, do you have a work email?
Yes, I have a work email. It's nixrs, so it's NIXRS at dhec.sc.gov. We're the state office of Bureau of EMS for South Carolina. We regulate all of the private services and all the public 911 and all the EMS agencies. We also cover the athletic trainers for South Carolina. And a lot of us are newer in there. We've got one or two that have been there 10 years plus. One gentleman who's been our data guru for 20 some odd years. I mean, it's just a wealth of knowledge and has really helped us, because our number one thing is the only way we can see if we're moving in a positive direction is to have the information and have the data there. And we've got to be able, kind of the garbage in, garbage out. If you don't put in the data, you can't take it out to see if it's working, and it's really good there. Also for anybody that's here today, the poster, it's on our web portal. There's also a QR code that you can scan it. If you're not here, they can always go to www.scemsportal.org, and that is the state of South Carolina's web portal that we have, and you can go in there and look for first-time pass rates, and the data and everything is in there.
Cool.
As well.
Absolutely.
So, and we've got a lot of information, upcoming training opportunities, as well as having job openings, and we try to list everything there. And I'll put a plug in for the training and certification. All of our certification information is there. Anybody who's looking to come from out of state can go on there and find all the information they need on how to to do it. And it's also got a nice little who's to call list. It's really nice because I have to take credit on that one too. It helps us out. You know, just look on there, call us up. We're there. Email us, whichever way is better for anybody, and we'd be glad to help you out. And hopefully, you know, we'd get some people in South Carolina. And if South Carolina's not where they're supposed to be, that they'll go somewhere. But you know, whatever provides the best patient care across the nation. I mean, this is, like I said, the whole world's coming together, the EMS world, and we just need to do whatever we can to keep everything going.
Absolutely. Better education, better retention.
Exactly.
We need that everywhere.
I've always said it's an art and a science, and the science is definitely there. Thank goodness for all the evidence-based medicine.
Yes.
We're treating the patients better. But I think the art of being an EMT or being a medic, we're kind of losing in the affect portion of it, which I would love to do a study on that, but it's hard to find how do you judge affect because there's just so much, you know, people out there, the judgmental, you know, they could be having the worst time of their life and get the best patient care, but they still think the person was rude because they are not in the frame of mind to judge it.
Yeah.
But you know, we need to remember that we're dealing with people in their worst time of their life. They're not calling us for milk and cookies. So,
unfortunately.
yeah. So you know, we've got to do that. And I think with all the science out there, I've had a chance to mentor a couple of people that just grabbed somebody's arm and went to start an IV and almost get punched. And they're like, "Why? Everybody knows what an IV is." I'm like, "Yeah, but you know." At that time, you've got to put yourself in their position. That person still needs to know what you're doing, why you're doing it, and the fact that technically it's assault and battery if you do it. But we can't just, you know, our patients have not read the textbooks. So we've got to keep that art to it, but we need to keep going with the science, keep going with the research, and, you know, kind of tying everything back together is if we're not pulling the data, we're not looking at the data, we don't know which way we're going.
Absolutely. Well, I'd like to thank you for coming and talking to us here at the EMS Garage and the EMS World Podcast.
Right, thank you.
And thanks for coming down to the EMS World Expo. I love this place.
Yeah, this is my first time. Hopefully won't be the last, but it's been great.
Yeah, it's so much, so you can't even take it all in.
No.
But anyway, if you want more information, click on the or continue on the site here, and videos as well. There's plenty to look. Plenty to watch and learn, and yeah, this is EMS Garage and EMS World Expo Podcast.